Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nikkole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nikkole.
So I want you to picture this. It's late, the kind of late where the world is quiet, but your mind is loud, and you're standing in front of the bathroom mirror. Barefoot, bonnet half off, face tired, heart heavier than you wanted to admit. You catch your own reflection, and for a split second, you don't even recognize her. Not because you've changed so much, but because you haven't. You know the version of you promised yourself you'd become? The healed woman, the confident woman, that I don't chase, I attract woman, that I'm done settling woman. She's still waiting on you. And in that moment, staring at that mirror, you whisper something you haven't said out loud in a long time. Girl, what happened to us? You remember all the things you said you were going to do, that you were going to stop tolerating, all the love you said you were finally going to give yourself, and all of the boundaries you said you were going to keep. All of the battles you said you were done fighting. All the cycles you swore you wouldn't walk back into. And yet, here you are, negotiating your worth, shrinking your voice, dimming your light, just to keep the peace. In rooms you don't even want to be in. But then something shifts. A quiet thought, a whisper from God, a reminder that becoming the woman you said you'd be isn't a single moment. It's a decision. A decision that starts right here, in the messy bun, with your tired eyes, and that heartbeat in your chest that refuses to give up. And that's where today's episode begins. Hey, I'm Coach Tammy Nikkole. I help women reclaim their voice, their worth, and their power so they can stand in clarity, confidence, and courage. When you think about the woman you said you would be, what does she look like mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? What was the moment that made you realize you needed to start becoming her? What challenges or fears did you have to face in order to grow into that version of yourself? How do you handle the days when you feel like you're falling short of that vision? What role has self-love and self-awareness played in your transformation? How do you define success now compared to before your growth journey began? Those are the types of questions we're going to answer today on this episode. I became the woman I said I would be. I have a guest today because I have a guest every day. Y'all know how we do over here at Loving Me Before I Love You. And today's guest, her name is Nikkole Malone, and she is here to share her story on becoming the woman she said she would. And we hope that her story ignites the story within you to become the woman you said you would. Welcome to the show, Nikkole.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. This episode for me is actually one of those like, did you do it, girl? Did you really do it? Are you going to do it, girl? You said you would. I'm a firm believer in your word is your bond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is very difficult for me, just me. I can't speak for all of y'all out there, but for me, a person that can't keep their word, I can't trust. And so keeping your word to yourself is what builds trust. When people talk about all the time, I don't trust myself, or I don't know how to trust. The reason you don't, if you didn't know, is because you don't keep your word to yourself. But Nikkole, welcome to the show. I want you to tell the people a little bit about you, and then I'm going to dive a little deep.
Yes, well, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for having me. A little bit about me. So, I currently reside in Indianapolis, Indiana. I am a wife, a mother. I still work a 9 to 5, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a friend, and just all the things that a woman is supposed to be. And so that's a little bit about me. I mean, it's loaded, right? As women, we are everything to everybody. So, I would say I am definitely that.
And typically we be everything to everybody and nothing to ourselves, which is why this podcast exists, because we have to learn to love ourselves before loving other people. And so I'm going to dive a little deep because have become the woman you said you would be. And we want to know, are you really her?
All right, let's go.
So how do you describe being the woman you said you would be?
Hmm. How do I describe the woman who I said I would be? I take you back to when I was a little girl, right? And so when I thought of who I would be now is someone who is a go-getter, super ambitious, dreamy, right? Very much big dreams. Um, Knew that there was like more out there, but just didn't have the language for it, right? Very much Hollywood thinking. You see the shows and things of that
Mm,
nature. Um, Very much like far from your grasp sort of thing, especially growing up. Um, Someone who, like you say, definitely keeps their word to others and maybe not to themselves all the time. Um, because I feel like this is about to be a whole lot of
mm-mm.
accountability for me. But
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, and not to cut you off, but because you went there and said you keeping your word to other people and but not yourself, right?
Mhm,
I think that is the hardest part for most people, right?
mhm,
Because we are so driven to be people pleasers and we're so driven to always taking care of other people that when it comes to taking care of ourselves, it's what gets put on the back burner. But we never realize that simply keeping your word to yourself would change a lot of things. It would make a lot of things so much easier, so much better, because it's like, I can't let myself down, right? We
mhm.
quick to say, I don't want to let my mama down. I don't want to let my granny down. But okay with letting yourself down.
Yeah.
So accountability is real. Don't worry, I got you.
Here we go, circle
Keep going.
back. We
Uh-huh. Just know
go circle back.
that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Yeah. I also think too, the woman who I set out to be is really a transformation, right? A lot of times we talk about girl going into womanhood and things of that nature. But I think for me personally, when I became a mother, that was when my biggest transformation. Like a lot of transformations was going on at the same time. So I think being able to juggle that along with life coming at you in all angles at the same time, you're evolving inside and out, and then everything else is too. And how to adapt as things are kind of rolling. I know we say rolling with the punches, and sometimes life be punching, like, and we gotta know how to punch back. And so I think that just being able to be adaptable, I think that is the woman who I said I was, because there has been highs and some lows. And it's all about how do you persevere and just move forward with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think when I think about becoming the woman I said I would, the statement alone is basically pure validation of keeping your word,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when we are young, even given a definition to being a woman or being a mom or a wife, like those things really take maturity to even decide what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always say, you know what? As a kid, you probably just like saying little stuff like, I'm going to be an amazing mom. I'm going to let my kids do blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to be like my mom. I'm not going to, be breathing down their neck all the time. Like, I'm just not
Yes.
going to do, like, you're doing all of those things. And typically all of those things are because of what you've seen from someone else. Who has been your inspiration of womanhood that you aspire to be the woman you become?
That is deep. Because I wouldn't say that I kind of had that growing up. Not that, like, of course, like my mom was in my life, single mom thing, the whole story. But I can't pinpoint just one person, right? I think that just growing up, even when going into college, there's a lot of things that I learned about just being a woman, and what that looks like on your own and things of that nature. But if I had to put it on a title or a character or someone, I would definitely say, I would say my cousin Tiffany. Um, I mean, beat the odds. She was a teen mom and then switched, like, changed her life and got married, which that's something I aspired. I mean, every little girl, she want to get married. But I mean, business, entrepreneur, owns a house, like just that person to strive, you know, be the role model essentially, right? But
Mm-hmm.
also at the same time, keeping it real. Like there's no facade. I feel like a lot of women, they have a pressure to keep it all together. And so
Yeah.
one thing, even though that is my cousin, but I never saw her be pressured to be somebody who she was not. And I feel like that was the power that she had, that I didn't really see everywhere else. Growing up, we have Claire Huxtable and like Prim and Proper and things like that, where we don't really have the, authenticity, I would say, when like life really does hit, like, okay, we need to have some real conversations. And so I would say that is the person who growing up, like, okay, like I see you, like I see how I'm supposed to move and flow in life.
I think not having somebody is very difficult. I think about my
Mm-hmm.
own upbringing. My mom died when I was 21,
Oh wow.
before I turned 21. So though she was there during my formative years, the years where I'm forming, like I'm becoming the adult, she was not.
Yeah.
So not having that level of guidance of what womanhood really is about. I mean, a lot of us think when you go through puberty and you get your cycle that, oh, you're a woman now. And it's like, yep, not really. My
Mm-hmm.
mind is changing, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but understanding the body and understanding who I am and my femininities, and being soft and understanding how to be graceful, and all of
Mm-hmm.
those things to me come after the 20s. Today's society, people are what I call fast. They may be
Mm-hmm.
telling me my age because I'm saying it fast,
I'm with you,
but
girl.
yeah, they don't say that these days. I don't know what they're saying, but to be fast or to be out there just kind of like using your
Mm-hmm.
body for gain and all of those things, like that happened when I was younger. Yes. No, I did not participate in that. FYI, let's get that clear. What I'm saying is the culture was that way
Mm-hmm.
when I was younger. However, understanding the grace of me and understanding how to walk with um certainty and distinction and being able to control a room because I entered it. Those things are taught. You don't just have it. I know sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people think you just got it, and it's like, no, you really don't just have it. You learn how to be it. You
Mm-hmm.
become that. And even to know that that is something to want to have is a part of your womanhood. Like when you watch women who are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, or you watch an executive walk in and she looks like you, and you like, you go girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's about her business with grace, with poise, and takes no mess, right? And you're looking at her from afar and you're like, she got it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you don't know how miserable she may be at home at night. So I think it's a lot more to the womanhood that a lot of us don't really get. So when I think about, like, nobody taught me to be graceful or whatever. So that's why everybody was like, oh, you're so rough around the edges. And I'm like, well, I'm me. That's the way I want to say it. But I'm me. So at the same time, I think becoming a woman does have to have some level of training. Who trained you?
Yeah. I totally get that. And I feel like I experienced that the same thing. Like, I think it comes out of survival, right? Out of survival versus like just being. And so even though like I grew up with a single mom, I mean, I didn't have it like terribly, people have like those stories and things like that. I really didn't. I think it kind of helped because I was an only child. So it was just kind of like, just kind of me and my mom sort of thing. But I didn't even realize that I was lacking in like womanhoodness, I guess, until I got to college and I began to learn a lot of things from my friends there. Now, mind you, we're all learning and like we're on our own for the first time and things of that nature. But I don't think it dawned on me until I would say probably after college, going into like corporate America, like, whoa, I don't have the skills that I thought that I had. Like, I feel like growing up the formative years, like we talk about, having good grades and extracurriculars, but there's really no like real life application until you jump into the real the real world, so to say. But I think it comes from a place of survival, because just like you described, like rough around the edges, like, ooh, that used to be me, loud and just out here, out here in a fun way, not another way. And so
Yeah.
I think with that is like, okay, how do I do this? Especially being a mother. I was a mother at, I got pregnant at 25 and had her at 26. And so being in a different state with no family, that was a like, okay, I need to lace up my boots and like get to going. So what does that look like with now entering another title and then also becoming your own woman? Like that's so real.
And then you said your mother of a little girl, and it's like, how
Mm-hmm.
do you teach her? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you start to be who you said you would be, and then also teach her how to be who she's going to become?
Mm-hmm.
It's more than a notion, right? I think a lot of times we don't really think about it. I think a lot of times we just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever comes along with it comes. But I really think that, I don't know, it's just like every time I say the phrase, becoming the woman I said I would, it's like, who is she? Right? Who is she? And does she change? Who is she? And does she still show up the way you thought she would? Or is she showing up differently? I do a lot of self-love things in general because I feel like we got to love ourselves first before we can love anyone else. And in that is becoming, right? You're always becoming.
Mm-hmm.
So becoming the woman I said I would for me is inclusive of the alterations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I may have said I was going to become a woman who was a woman of integrity. She was giving, she was kind, she was loving, she was, all these things, right? But then I decide, oh, I'm a woman of boundaries now. I'm a woman of self-forgiveness. I'm a woman so all of those things have been added because I learned that loving me was important.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm forever becoming the woman I said I would. Never technically arrived.
Mm-hmm.
You agree?
Yeah.
She said, mm-hmm.
Yes, I totally agree. I feel like I'm in like like the alley, right? Like I feel like I'm at like the in between stage where we're still journeying along somewhere. Where it's like, yeah, if I've
Mm-hmm.
made strides from old me to now, right? Like you said, integrity is a big one. Because man, back in the day, I loved a good finesse, but I don't have to finesse anymore. We don't be integral in all things.
Mm-hmm.
I think even just how to deal with relationships and just being much more mature in that, how to actually be a friend to people, right? And also being a giver, not just being a taker and, just having people just to like leech on them and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Or it's to really just build an endurance, right? I talk about a lot like when life is life and like, okay, how do you respond? And I think a lot of that too, 'cause it makes me think about growing up where I was just very emotional. Like,
Mhm.
and I think it's outside of being a woman and then like, you're getting your cycle and like all those things. But I was just very emotional. And so I think becoming a woman is just also being sound minded, right? Like not letting your emotions overtake you. And that comes with practice. So I feel like the alley is like, okay, I'm at this spot. I'm okay, but there's other more layers to unpack. There's more things to be able to overcome because we have to think about it. There's a lot of deep seated things that are within us that have been here 30, 40, 50 years or so. And that's a lot to unlearn. It's not an overnight thing because we weren't taught that overnight. And so I feel like it's just a lot. And every time it's just like, okay, let me just undo this or let me relearn this. And it's just like, well, when is the learning going to stop? Like, but it doesn't. It never does. And so it feels like a cycle, a healthy one, but it's a lot of work to do. And so that's why I say it's like being in the alley of like, I'm there, but I'm not there just quite yet.
How do you handle the fear of the things that you have not yet achieved, though it's on your list to do? And it's like, what are we doing? We gotta make, like, we said this. We have to
hmm
achieve it. We have to reach. What happens when fear sets in for you?
I think I really go back to purpose if I'm being quite honest. Purpose for me is really big. My faith in God is really big because I don't want to hear on that final day saying like, you work of iniquity, I never knew you.
I didn't
And
know you.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to hear my good and faithful servant. And so I want to cross off the things that I was created to do and I was purposed for. And so when fear sets in, because fear can get very loud, like fear is trying to fight you and I'm trying to fight it and 50 other things. And so I think just doing it anyway, right? And I think that comes down to those things that we have to overcome. So one of the things that I feel like I've grown this summer I did a Believe and Build challenge, and it really helped me with speaking and just kind of getting myself out there and just practicing essentially. But it was taking people along the journey. And so I did it anyway, because what am I going to do? Hide behind the screens and everything. And so I know a lot of people say doing it afraid. But really, I've learned that your confidence comes in the go. It goes by you actually doing it, no matter what people say, no matter what people think. Because think about it, the little girl in us is probably like, oh, well, they didn't like me when I tried to do this in sixth grade. Like that person is still echoing in our
You have to
minds.
heal
Let's just,
her. Yeah.
right, exactly. And so with that, it's just like, we have to tell them. Sometimes we just got to tell them, be quiet, not even a polite one, be quiet, because I'm going to have to show up. Because I think about it, like I said, going back to purpose, if I don't do it, people are counting on me, people that we know and don't know. And so it's like, are you going to let those other people down? Like, are you going to let yourself down because you want the results? And by you being obedient, that's going to yield the results, not only for you, but other people as well, too. And so, yeah, sometimes you got to tell fear, be quiet, have a seat.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in doing it scared. Um,
Mm-hmm.
as you said, building the confidence to do it. Um, confidence really comes from trust.
Mm-hmm.
And trust comes from you doing what you say you're going to do and being able to walk in what you know, right? I remember being a little girl and they used to think, oh man, she has confidence out this world. You can't tell her nothing. Okay. I didn't care about speaking in front of people. I didn't care about none of those things. But what breaks confidence is failure, right? Something not going well, something like catastrophically happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dang, I was doing so good. Now look. But rebuilding comes from healing. And a lot of times, I don't think we understand that you have to also heal from the failure. Like you have to
Mm-hmm.
heal from not achieving what you thought you could. And everybody talks about healing like, oh, it's just this taboo thing that's always about childhood. It's not always about childhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you scrape your knee today, that healing process is a lot longer than it would have been when you was 10. So this is not just about doing things from childhood. It's also about doing it from right now. And you can hurt yourself right now and still need to heal right now. People always say, oh, we got to heal from that relationship. I mean, yeah, them relationships, yeah. Right? I mean,
Hey, hope you're feeling the love in today's episode. We'll pick back up where we left off in a moment. First, we're excited to share that Tammy has a collection of self-love t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and journals for you to express how much you love yourself to the world. From comfy hoodies to motivational mugs, there's something for everyone. While you're listening to today's show, feel free to browse the full collection at IamTammyNikkole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
but I also think like when you heal from relationships, you heal from them faster if you have a relationship with yourself. No relationship with yourself, the healing process is always self-damaging. Why? Because you're always blaming you for whatever went wrong in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that a lot of times that fear, like you do have to do it scared, but you have to know yourself. You have to know who you are, whose you are, and what you are going to do. Like you said, the purpose matters.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we don't walk in purpose. We just walk in fear.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to let that go. Like, why do we have it? So what role has self-love and self-awareness played in you becoming the woman you said you would?
I think self-awareness, that is very big for me. I would say I'm a very self-aware person. I could tell when something's off or like something comes out my mouth and I'm like, oh, I should have kept that back. Or, sometimes we can be a little too honest depending on who our audience is. But I think that's really helped me to have checks and balances with myself. Because it's just kind of like, are we going the deep end or are we going to stay shallow? Like that sort of thing. And I think that when it comes to being self-awareness, it helps me to analyze. I'm very big on just analytics, period, like business analytics, data analytics, anything I can analyze, I'm just going to do it. But I think also too, I think that has helped me like, okay, to help me just slow down my mind at the same time, because I could be thinking about 2027 and we haven't even hit 2026 just yet. But I think it helps me to slow down with being self-aware, like, okay, let me analyze maybe this person. If I really know the person, like, hey, like what do they kind of like wrestle with? And how can I respond in a way that's going to be receiving, loving? Because that's always I want to be loving to everybody. So I think that has helped me too to just slow down with self-awareness. Self-love, I think that it's, like you said, it's like a different kind of love. Like it's very much like putting myself first. So if I need to take a PTO day and go get my hair done, like I'm gonna do that. If I want to go get my nails done and things, like I'm gonna do that, because I'm a firm believer. Like if you don't do that, then like you need to make sure yourself feels good. And I think also too, being okay with receiving what is meant for you. I feel like a lot of times when we don't love ourselves, we can't even receive properly what God essentially has for us, because then we get to thinking like, okay, well, I don't even deserve that. Like, why would he pick me for that? Or someone gives you a gift or a compliment, and you don't even know how to receive that because you don't think that you deserve that or that you should receive it. And I think with that, I had to write down, there was a time in my life where I had to write down, like, I deserve to receive all the blessings that God has for me. And I had to literally write that down constantly as a reminder and put it on sticky notes, because if you don't love yourself, that self-worth, then it's going to show up in your posture. It's going to show up in your language. And I think those things have also with self-awareness have helped me to balance and incorporate those things and actually do the work for that. Because if we're becoming, right, I feel like this person isn't necessarily, she hasn't arrived just yet, but she is going forward. And I feel like as long as we're going forward, um, the sky is literally the limit if we're able to do that. Both of those things.
Absolutely. So self-love, um, a lot of people equate self-love to self-care. They're not the same at all. Self-care is a part of a self-love process because it's like I'm doing these things to make myself feel good. I'm taking care of me. I'm making sure that I, like you said, get your nails done, your hair, all of that stuff to feel good. But self-love really is about the self-awareness. It's about self-forgiveness. It's about healthy boundaries. It's about the healthy affirmations. It's about the self-worth. Like, who are you and what are you worthy of?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times we just don't think about it, right? It's like we are constantly doing stuff for other people. And it's like, dang, do I really love me? Or am I doing this because I want to do it for them? You know what I mean? And so when you're becoming that woman and you're like, this is the woman I said I would become, a lot of times we have put that on things. And I say things like getting a job or, being the executive or having this degree or whatever that is. But it's like, are we doing that for ourselves or are we doing it for other people?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when I'm like, is self-love included? Or are you becoming the woman based upon who you think you should have been because of other people, be it mom, grandma, cousin, auntie? They said, I see you being this girl. And you like, oh, I'm going to go be that girl. I'm going to go do this. And I'm going to become her. And that's why I always ask, is self-love inclusive of becoming that woman? Because most of the time, it's not. And it's not because it's like, it was never on anybody's radar 15 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, loving you was not on the radar. But becoming a woman was. You know what I mean? Like, it was inevitable for you to become a woman and the type of woman you wanted to become. But loving yourself in the process 10 years ago, no, wasn't even there. Like, nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Do you think now, because I definitely feel that, because I feel like, again, going back to survival and thinking about, me personally, like my family, like, okay, there's like 10 kids, like grandma had to do everything, that sort of thing. Do you feel like it wasn't talked about, 10, 15 years ago because people just weren't taught, and now we have access to, podcasts and media and things like that? Like, what do you think is the turning point, especially for like our generation?
So I think the turning point is people being fed up with being lost and being like down in the dumps, right? Like, crazy enough, the Bible told you to love yourself first. Like, and all of us Bible thumping, church going, pray till you, like, you can't pray no more, till your knees are bleeding. We're never pushing love yourself. Everybody was pushing do for others, do for others, do for others. And I mean, Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, which would be a full indication that you needed to love you first. It would be a full indication that not loving yourself, it's impossible to love the next person. The full indication that loving you is the blueprint to loving everybody else. But we didn't do it. So I think too many suicides, too many people, doing things that the higher ups are doing it. It's like, wait, you have all the money in the world and you still taking your life? You standing in front of people preaching the sermons on Sunday and going home Sunday night and taking your life. Like, those things became too many, too much. Like, what are we doing? And people are starting to understand, like, wait, we have to love us. You have to check in on people, but everybody has to start loving themselves. Like, self-love has been the biggest phenomenon in the last 3-4 years. Everybody's talking about it. You're learning that you got to unlearn. You're learning that though people matter, they don't. What do I mean by that? Like, I can be me and not worry about what you think about it. But we have been so conditioned to be so concerned about what everybody else thought about what we wanted, that we wouldn't even be ourselves. And that's tumultuous for us, because what are you doing but eating yourself up on the inside quietly until you can't take it no more? And everybody else is going on about their doggone life, doing whatever they want to do. And you miserable because you were so busy trying to become what they wanted you to become, or what you thought they wanted you to become. And so, yeah, I think the change happened when the suicide rate went skyrocket high, when people started saying, hey, you matter. When people's lives start, like, you matter. It doesn't, like, you matter. Then what does you matter mean? Then everybody start thinking about that. Well, what do I matter? What that mean? It means that your life is of essence. It means that your thoughts, your ideas, your desires, they should come to pass. Like, they should be put on a platter and issued and executed for you to actually see everything in real time. So that's what I think happened. That's just, my take on it. Now, from a mental health perspective, it's the same thing. So mental health has become a big thing, and in mental health, self-love actually resides. So it's like, you have to take care of your mind. You have to understand that your mind controls everything. And if you're not thinking about yourself in a loving way, then how else are you thinking about you?
Yeah. I think that's so real. One thing that I'm thinking about is that how our thoughts literally rule us, right? Or thoughts that we think that other people have, and they're not even thinking about us. And so it reminds me how important it is for us to capture every thought, take it captive, because it will rule decisions. It will rule how we think of others and ourselves too. And how, if you're really not thinking about nothing with substance, right? It's a playground. Like, a thought will come in, you'd be like, well, why am I even thinking about that? And so I think that we have to really exercise this thing out, right? Like, you have to literally do the work. So if it's like writing down sticky notes, I have a ton of sticky notes everywhere in my house. My family be tired of it, but that's okay. We working. I think about that, or even if it's shutting down conversations. Cause I remember one of the things you said was boundaries, and sometimes boundaries come with thoughts as well too. Sometimes you can't be on the phone with certain people because they just run rampant and talk about whatever. And so I think about even having a safeguard with that, because thoughts literally create actions, and it could
They do.
domino pretty quickly if you don't capture it.
They do. Absolutely. As a man thinketh, so is he. So the thoughts that you have will dictate the behaviors that you do. So that's why I'm very, very big on your thought patterns. If you have limited belief systems, controlling them, it sometimes can be hard. But if you stop, think, and act, it's like, why does this thought matter? Is this thought true? What makes it true? If you can't validate it, throw it away. It's not real. Journaling is very important.
Yes.
Journaling is extremely important. My journal that I just released at the end of last year, it's called Me, Myself, and Love. It's a self-love relationship journal that takes you from the root to the commitment of living life with love in it for you. Taking yourself on solo dates, knowing you. A lot of us don't know ourselves. We just exist. I've had this experience, or I've done these things, or I like this, or I don't like that. But who are you?
Mm-hmm.
When I ask that question, who are you? The first thing that comes to mind is what?
Our titles, who we are, what we do.
Yeah. And that's not who you are. It's what you do.
Mm.
So, people say, well, if I ask you, who are you? What you gonna say? And I'm like, I'm kind. I'm generous. I'm courageous. I am stubborn. I can tell you everything about me, but it's because I know me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I ask you who you are, you say, I'm a mama, I'm a teacher. And as you can see, I didn't tell you nothing that I did, but everything of who I am, because I'm loyal. I know me, right? I also know that you have limited amount of times to do me wrong before I snap on you. Like, that's me. Like you gotta know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and everything that you know and everything about you is not always A1 positive characteristics. There are some things that are not amazing, but they're you. They're you, and it's okay. As long as you can accept it, as long as you know how to navigate it, as long as you know how to not make it a bad thing. Like, oh yeah, I know that I'm stubborn. Like, I know that I can be a little snobby or snootish at times. I know that. So I also know when I'm triggered by it, and I know how to handle it so that you don't get to see that I could be snobby or snooty, or, you know what I mean? But I know that I can, because I know it's in me. And so learning and knowing who you are and who you're becoming is super important.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to tell women how to become the woman they said they would, what would be the first thing they should do?
I really want to say make the decision. But for me, I feel like we make decisions all the time and don't follow through with it, to be quite honest. But I think really speaking it out loud. And I only say that though, because the things that we say out loud are typically the things that actually happen. And so in this nice world of internet, or even if it's to a friend and you don't want to publicize it, anything like that, I think that speaking it out loud so that you are able to, one, believe it, and two, have the accountability. Um, like I said, and I only say that because we can write in a journal, which is fine. I love a good journal. I have thousands of them in here. But that keeps it to yourself. And so what if you don't fulfill the thing that is actually on your list of things? And so I think about anytime that I am making a decision and I really want to see it happen, I text my best friend, hey, setting this here for accountability, check on this in 2 days. Because I feel like, one, that gives people the access to be in your business. Like, there's no boundary, like, hey, I need you here. But also, too, it's like, okay, I didn't put this in the atmosphere. And so now this kind of has to happen. Because if not, like you're saying earlier, people don't essentially want to fail. And so I think speaking it out loud daily, even if it's saying like, hello, hello, global CEO, might not have happened just yet, but it is going to happen essentially, because you're like, okay, I have actually a goal. I'm saying this, I'm seeing this, and it has to essentially happen. So 1A would be make the decision, but 1B would be actually saying it out loud so you're able to do it. Because I feel like keeping it inside, you're just going to give yourself excuses and you're going to be back in the cycle that you was already in. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Awesome. I actually like that idea. And if you don't feel comfortable telling a friend at the beginning, record yourself saying it and play it every morning so that you do hear it and that you hear it in your voice and not someone else's. I literally So I went back to school. I'm in grad school, like earning my PhD. And my friend, we talk all the time, and he would give me 50 million different names, right? I'm Tam, I'm a whole bunch of names. But when I decided to go back to school, he started calling me Dr. T.
Mm-hmm.
And not too long ago, I said to him, I noticed you don't call me them other names anymore, like the variety, like every day was something different. And I was like, you don't call me those names anymore. And he was like, yeah, because I'm supporting you and I'm going to call you Dr. T. So you can always hear it and see it and believe it and become it. So when you said that, that literally reminded me of that conversation, because I was like, you didn't switch up on me. He's like, no, I didn't switch up on you. But that needs to come to pass. And so therefore, I'm going to call you that until it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And so having an accountability partner is super, super important. Mm-hmm. If you can tell the listeners one last thing about becoming the woman she said she would, what would it be?
I would say let your light shine. There's been so many times where we have put ourselves on the back burner. We have hid behind trauma, fears. People have said, well, we think people have said and never even said it, but there's a reason why you are here, and there's a reason and a function that you essentially need to do. And so if you don't do it for yourself, do it for somebody who is assigned to you. Do it for somebody who may not know who you are today, but they need to know you in 10 years and they are waiting for your arrival. And so let your light shine, because there's so much in you that the world needs to know, the world is waiting for, because you are someone's answered prayer. You are someone's solution. And so if you're hiding, no one's going to know and no one's going to get what they need. And I do believe when you get there, you're going to look back and say, hey, I actually did it because I made the decision. I decided to move forward and I actually put my feet to the ground. And so I would definitely tell them to let your light shine.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard Nikkole's story and you heard her inspiration on letting your light shine, and also getting that accountability partner to share your journey of where you're going. Remember, if you're becoming the woman you said you would, you first got to say it. You first got to decide who that woman is. What does she look like? What does she do? What is she becoming in order for her to become? Always remember, loving yourself is super important. And you should love yourself so much that love from others is a bonus. Remember, if you want coaching, go to coaching@IamTammyNikkole.com, or you can hit up my website at IamTammyNikkole.com and click the link, sign up for a one-to-one consultation, or simply sign up for getting services. We have coaching programs called Self-Love Reset. It is an 8-week program, and I promise you will become confident and you will have courage, and your self-worth will shoot through the roof. Remember, loving me before I love you. Have a good one, and I'll see y'all next Tuesday.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nikkole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNikkole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.